Berlin. So we start the tour, go to Northern Europe country, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Russia, Belarus, Poland, and Germany. So we start today. Today is August 10th. We fly from LAX to New York, New Jersey, and we are board the plane right now to go to Berlin. Right now, 5:15 p.m. local time. We go to board the Continental flight 96 to Berlin. Fly after 5:55 p.m. in New Jersey. This month. Hả? Mời boarding hả? Cho mình vô chưa? We have arrived Berlin. Now we wait for the tour to take off. We wait for more people come in to the group Trafalgar tour in order to go to the hotel.
It's the currency in Finland, but not in Denmark and Sweden. Some places in Denmark and Sweden will accept it, but they're not very geared up towards it. But it's a good idea to have a small amount. What are you doing?
What is the name of the hotel?
Radisson.
Không quen á.
Không quen gì có chứ không phải quen giả đâu. Chỗ này là sắp sửa bên tay phải gì là cái thành đó, cái thành là cái chỗ Brandenburg, biết.
It's nice. You have a break, free your mind.
Oh,
It's to live. When it's gone, it's gone. So,
exactly.
you know.
This I meant.
Unlikely eventuality of anybody getting lost. There is a tram stop here just outside the hotel, and the tram goes direct to the Alexanderplatz, which very good landmark divided up into different sectors, and it remained so until 1990s. So the city literally had a wall going through the middle of it, so it was divided east and west. And people still today often, even though this wall stood where we're going to meet our guide, you can see the hotel shops and stores and so forth, so it's quite the commercial hub of this part of the city. Looks a little bit of a mess, all the roadworks and so forth going on, but that's because of, again, all the reconstruction going on here. If any of you, just to repeat, if you happen to get lost at any stage, then the tram goes where this big hotel is on the other side of
million inhabitants. Now this is the district of Mitte, M-I-T-T-E, and this used to be the government quarters of, under communist rule, of the GDR. If you look across the street, a little bit behind the trees, you can see the building, the grey building with a tower, used to be the headquarters of the last Prime Minister of East Germany, called de Maizière. And here to the right, the red brick building, which was during the time of the communist regime where the East Berlin mayor used to be, and now since the fall of the Berlin Wall, Germany got united. This is now where our governing mayor is. Now his called Cloud
Tri
Hall
ông bà,
is
thấy
a
chưa Tri ông T-Mobile nó quảng cáo cho anh đó, thấy không?
center called Alexanderplatz. Formerly it was only for East Berliners, but since the wall came down, many West Berliners shopping here too. Now look now to the left, you can see in the middle, Marx and Engels, and they are about the only statues of the top communist idols that had been saved from the many that used to be in the East. Inside is pretty, had been renovated. There is even an arches of the 4 synagogues in the city. Now this is the main building across the street. This building, which is at the moment being pulled down, used to be the International Congress Center, multi-purpose center, what the communist authorities used to call the Palace Republic. Old museum built 1828. Now it is where the bust of the Queen Nefertiti is, and she has been moved from Charlottenburg Palace. Now she is at the moment in this museum. Later on she's going to be probably the most well-known of all the museums on the Museum Island, which has got the largest collection of the Babylonian street in the world. Now relics that went way back to 2,600 years ago, the relics from King Nebuchadnezzar II, those days from Mesopotamia, what today Iraq is. Now in all the places worship from synagogues too, and the one we can see to the left further down is called the Gauklefes. Now this is the river Spree we are crossing over. You can see left and right 8 beautiful statues designed by Andreas Schlüter. It depicts a day in the life of a warrior. And this used to be the first building built on the street here to the right on Unter den Linden, 1695. And this was built 1695. It is now the German History Museum. And all the buildings to the left were formerly the Crown Prince and the Princess Palace. And look now to the right, you can see the building with columns outside. This is what we call in German Schinkels Neunwache, Schinkels Guardhouse, built 1818. It is now a memorial dedicated to what we see across the street to the left is one of the 3 opera houses in the city. And this one here has been built 1745, seating capacity for 1,500. You can see 2 statues of the Humboldt brothers. Now the statue of this gentleman with a book in his hand is the founder of this university, and still to the right you can see his brother Alexander, who was rather well known, who was a scientist for natural history, an explorer, and also a names of German authors. Now this square here has got something to do with books. Although I must say a dark part, a black part of German history, because during Hitler's reign of terror, to the left was where the burning of books took place. More than 20,000 books were collected to be Marxist, communist, socialist, but more Jewish authors, philosophers, scientists, names like Kafka, Thomas Mann, Moses Mendelssohn, and set on fire. Now much earlier in 1820, under the head of the horse, those he wasn't too keen on, under the tail of when the Berlin Wall stood. It stood exactly in the eastern part of the city, on the other side of the columns, which used to be already almost West Berlin. There used to be the thickest part of the Berlin Wall that was 6 feet thick solid concrete or 2 meters. Now when the wall was about to come down, you saw thousands of people gathered around the gates, singing, dancing, merrymaking. It all took place around the Brandenburg Gate. I'm sure you saw this televised in your country too. Now the gate was built 1791, designed by the architect Karl Langhans, and the quadriga at the top designed by Shadow. To Greater Gabo. So to the right is a gate. Since it had been rebuilt, there are other top personalities who stayed here, from George W. Bush to Michael Jackson. Yes, this is the hotel where Michael Jackson dangled his baby over the balcony.
Oh, really?
Everybody seems to know this. If you want to know which balcony, it is also not so difficult. When we let you out in a minute, out of the bus, you
Mình đi từ kia, bên phía bên kia.
Nhớ cái con be luôn. Nhưng mà mình đi từ đây tới, còn cái nó đi từ đằng kia tới.
Cái gì?
Đúng không? Mình đi là hôm trước mình đi thẳng từ dưới này lên nè, còn nó đi hồi nãy nó đi bọc ra đây, nó tới đây nè. Nó đi con đường này, nó đi con đường khác. Mình chỉ có con đường thẳng ấy, mình không có quẹo một đây. Chụp nhiều quá là thôi đi xe.
Cái dừng xe kìa.
Cộng sản nó ghê lắm nha, nó bom cho nó đổ hết mấy cái tòa nhà, mấy cái palace nó xây thành cái chỗ mà để cho mấy tụi farmer ở đó, làm như chung cư đó. Bây giờ nó mới lấy lại nó xây mà đang thiếu tiền nữa. Nãy nó nói nó thiếu mấy trăm triệu euro đó. Xây đó để làm lại cái palace giống như nhà cổ đó. Mà ngày xưa đó nó để cho vua chúa ở trong mấy cái nhà thờ, tại nó không có tin religious đó. Nãy con nhỏ nó nói á, with the communism no religious đó, nghe không?
Hamburg lại. Hả?
Hamburg là cái tên, chắc tên của thằng Đức nào, physics. Cái trường đó, cái trường đó ra là 27 người lãnh được giải Nobel đó, trừ cái trường University đó đó. Ghê không? Đấy nè, cái nhà kiến này nè. Đúng rồi, sao mình không khoác cái đó coi thì các bạn. Em đứng nha, chụp cho em cái này thấy rất là được. Napoleon nè, entry into Berlin nè bạn nè.
To be the House of Parliament costed more than 300 million euros taxpayers' money. Now look down in the street now to the left. You see the two rows of brick we just passed over? You felt that underneath the bus, and to the left you can still see some of the crosses of the Berlin Wall, the victims of the war, and this is the House of Parliament. When we move a little bit further down the street, you can look from the front, which is from, the front part of the Parliament. This is the front part of the Parliament. So in a minute, we just stand the bus over here. Sir Norman Foster. Now it was originally built 1884 to 1894. It took a long time to restore. The first time it was very badly destroyed by the bombs of the Second World War.
Have a nice weekend, yeah?
The glass dome is completely different to the rest of the building. It is a contrast to show that the new era of Berlin had started, leaving the old one behind. Now if you look across the lawn to the far right, you can see a building with lots of windows with a flat top. Not to the far right. These are the offices for the people who work for the House of Parliament, the politicians. Because in construction, which was part of the International Building Exhibition in 1957. Now during this time, 57 architects from 35 countries used turbines, but constructed by the Berlin workers. For some unknown reason, late summer 1980, this entire building collapsed. It had been rebuilt. Many nicknames to this building. The first nickname, the Berliners Big Mouth. We're quite famous for Big Mouth. The second nickname, the
Big Mouth.
Pregnant Oyster. And the last nickname after Jimmy
The
Carter's
Carter
street
Mouth.
visit,
Oh yeah, the
we
Carter
called
Mouth.
it Jimmy Carter Smile.
Yeah.
Late
Jimmy
summer
Carter Smile.
1980, Jimmy Carter Smile collapsed, ironically about the same time that Ronald Reagan became president. The top of the building, it indicates
có đỏ
the
trong này đó.
president is here.
Ông
So this is
president
your
của Đức
chance,
đó.
folks, if you want to go to tea with our president.
Present.
So this is
Stay here.
Belvoir Palace.
Tức là ông nếu
The Oval Office of our president.
Home office.
No, let's hope he doesn't get into mischief in his Oval Office. I'm talking about our president. Now in front of us, another well-known landmark in the city. This is the Column of Victory. Now it's centered in the column of... So we're turning down onto the street called Straße des 17. Juni, the street of 17 June.
mấy cái đồ
Này
H&M
John,
cho tụi nó.
John mua quốc sẽ đây, Julie đi mua quốc sẽ đây nè. Cái này chỗ đằng ấy kìa. Julie
Lots and lots of museums. If you look here to the left, this is about the only museum in town that's still open till after midnight. The Erotic Museum. A lady owns this museum. Her name is Beate Uzer. Some lady, because during the Second World War she wanted to be a pilot. Now those days they were not so tolerant. Ladies were supposed to stay home and look after the children. And she was quite determined, and she flew as a pilot during the Second World War. And later on, when the Berlin Wall came down, she saw the market value in the East and opened all these peep shows and what have you, and made a lot of money. And she opened this museum straight after. She even went on to the stock exchange. And you know something, her shares are doing better than the National Telephone Company. Now she just, the window panes were all removed, replaced with bulletproof ones. Now even the air conditioning piping, the ventilation were ripped on the street. And the bus will be here on the same side, yeah?
How long?
10 minutes ha?
Remaining
Hôm trước
very
mình
warm.
đâu có tới chỗ này.
Không tới đây này, đúng rồi.
Mấy cái nhìn đấy, sao không có cái wall đó mà nói cái wall này.
They're going to pull it down so they won't even do that.
Saan dito?
Yeah.
Remaining, well,
Mo ha?
you should come down to read what they say there. Oh, what is it? Stone? On wall? Yeah.
Well, put on at Berlin.
Yeah, right.
Thanks.
Wall. This, yeah.
I collect stones everywhere I go. Every city I visit,
Huh?
I
Yeah.
have a basket of stones from all over all of the countries I visited.
Oh, yeah.
I got one from the Jordan River,
Oh, really?
big one.
Wenn ich irgendwas machen soll, ich bin jetzt bis Montag weg in Kopenhagen, aber dann bin ich wieder.
On the right hand side is the west, left hand side is the wall.
I just count, yeah? These two.
And the east here
Okay, sorry.
is the west.
Against you, yeah? Okay, my dear.
Here the wall.
Let's see, no?
Soll ich zählen?
The
Where
east.
east and west used to be. Now, the building here, the museum to the right, was in West Berlin. And you can see the state of the statues. You know, this was what the building looked like
And
after the
west
Second World War.
Berlin,
And
wall,
all
here
the
the wall.
buildings to the left was in East Berlin.
East
Now
Berlin.
you can see the wall was attacked wall patterns. You see the steel and iron bars right through the concrete, 12 feet high. And
12 feet
directly behind this wall used to be the
East Berlin.
Gestapo headquarters. Now the Gestapo headquarters was leveled down by the bombs and the rest was blown up by the Soviets. Now you see they are protecting the wall with a wire fencing because the state would like this part of the wall to stand here a little bit longer so that people like you who comes from afar could have the chance to look at the Berlin Wall
West here.
in its authentic site. And we are trying those buildings, you know, that were by the Berlin Wall because it was too near to stay
Along
by
here.
the wall. The danger of escape is so high. Otherwise, lots of
Berlin,
buildings were either cemented off or blocked off, and they were then demolished. Now this is the checkpoint Charlie. Look now to your right.
Checkpoint Charlie.
If you look at
over
this,
here.
yes, if you look at this big picture of the American sector, there is a sign here to the right that says you are entering the American sector.
Yeah.
And if you look to your right, you can see where the
Oh,
setbacks are. There is a big flag,
Checkpoint Charlie
American
there,
flag,
checkpoint Charlie
indicating this used to be the American sector. So the control was done all here. So to the right was West Berlin, to the east, to the left, East Berlin, to the right, West Berlin. And the control was done here, of course, by the bodyguards. Now all bodyguards were German. It is quite often East Berlin. So the street here is called Friedrichstraße, and when the wall went up suddenly, half of the street was in the east and half was in the west. And under communist rule, Friedrichstraße, which was originally a very busy shopping street, city was about 80% destroyed.
Oh,
There
really?
being 118 million cubic meters of rubble left over from the debris of the bombs.
Oh.
Before the new city of Berlin could be rebuilt, workers got to work, especially the women, and they sorted out everything they could use to one side, and those they couldn't use anymore.
Shopping center of East Berlin. Homeless shopping center East Berlin. The hotel in Berlin.
Có cái bôi nắp đó, có bôi nắp không?
Chưa. Today we're ready to go to Denmark. It's the hotel we stayed last night.
Ở trên là phòng, ở dưới là business thấy không?
The U-turn. We heading to Denmark.
Cái thằng BOSCS nè, nhà của thằng nó gần nhà anh vua. Chỗ vua ở.
To East Germany.
Okay, well, just as we are going to be leaving Berlin now to go through our plan for today, you can probably see, first of all, that our group is getting larger. I think we have to stop increasing now, otherwise if we carry on at this rate, then tomorrow we will be overspilling the coach. But we're getting just towards the correct number of passengers, just a nice, exactly the right number. And we have just one gentleman who's still going to be joining us in Copenhagen, who I understand from Trafalgar has been enjoying that's going to be taking us in the direction of the port of Rostock. So our plan today will be leaving Berlin, heading onto the motorway and towards the port of Rostock. We normally, our journey will also be, when we get to Copenhagen, we will be swapping coaches.
Rest stop trước khi tới
Border of
Rostock.
Cái này chưa Rostock á hả?
Rostock. Rostock đi qua go to Denmark.
Copenhagen.
The gasoline here is about how much? How much? About $6 or $7 a gallon. Cái để này quay sang này. Gas is €1.37 lít gasoline. €39.28 lít. That cost us €1.39 per €1.39 per liter. Expensive gasoline. Now we get to the...
Xuống không để cái đồ này của mình cái này.
Đây gọi là gì? Rock gì? Đây gọi là gì? Đây gọi là gì? Rock gì? Rostock. Go to ferry, go to...
So we'll be down at the terminal in a moment. If I could ask you please just to remain on the coach for a little while. I have to go and get our tickets, and then once we've got the tickets we'll be driving down to our correct lane where we'll wait for the ferry for boarding. So if you can just bear with us for a few moments, please.
Rostock, cruise across the Baltic to Denmark các bạn.
Rostock.
Ở đây cũng có chỗ đi tiểu nè. Cái đó là Ken không á? Ken á. Trust là Ken. Nhiều khi phóng uế của mấy người thải ra từ xe bus.
The Senate Square. Yes.
Ồ, cái thuyền này giống chừng nó ra vô đặng cho mình lên đó anh ba ơi. Phải không? Đúng rồi ba ơi.
Đúng rồi.
Nó thả người xuống, nó đón người lên.
Mà mở tàu há mồm.
Tàu bự vậy mới chứa nổi xe
ferry.
Chứ hả?
Ferry.
Cái này là Baltic Sea đó. Maybe from us. Cái đó giống như cái bít.
Nó cái này cái sông nó nối dài xíu thôi. Cái này chỗ
đây gì? Là Baltic Sea hả?
Cái này là gì? Cái này
Baltic Sea phải không?
Cái này chỗ đó gì?
Rostock.
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 Yeah, Rostock. From German Germany to Denmark.
Beautiful,